Hello, Bearcat fans, and welcome into another episode of the BCJ podcast, presented as always by our great partners at the Holy Grail. Football season is basically here, week 0. This weekend, get down to the Holy Grail, check out your favorite college football team, meet up with Chad for the Pitt game in a couple weeks. The Reds just went over what Vegas thought they would do, so go celebrate 66 wins. Get ready for another Bengals season, but head on down there, get a cold beer, get a Cincy Light, support the people that support us. It's been a great partnership with them, so repay the favor and help keep the Holy Grail the place to be for all your Cincinnati sports watching needs. And with that, we're going to get rocking and rolling right away with our now third annual visit from Deputy AD Anthony Fino. How you doing, Anthony?
Dave, thanks for having me. Doing great. Third one.
Third one.
Awesome. Man,
pretty wild.
I made it.
When we say that out loud. But a lot has changed. A lot has changed in the 3 years. But we were kind of talking before we started here about 10 days away from the home opener of the 2023 football season, and I'm sure you guys have everything exactly where you want it as of today.
We're always ready. It's fun. This is my favorite time of year. Our staff is just grinding. We are making all the final preparations that we can, and I told my staff last night, we're never fully ready. We'll never fully be ready because there's so many variables to a game day, but we're excited. We're always pumped for this time of year. We're ready to finally have people back on campus. You have that long hiatus where you're just looking out into the stadium and there's no one in there and you're like, this is boring. Let's play football. So we're excited.
So we'll start here. I don't know how long it's been, but announced that season tickets for the football season had been sold out, or are sold out. And then I guess, was it today or yesterday, a quick announcement about mini plans coming soon. Just kind of give us quick view of how you thought season ticket renewals and sales went and kind of where things are as we make that final push before the season. And if people are still looking to grab individual game tickets, how many are left?
Yeah, it's great to have the fans really come out and support for yet another year being sold out on season tickets. We'll do our darndest to keep that sellout streak alive and keep it moving in the right direction. I think that's just a testament to our fans and how they come out every single week and just have so much energy and bringing that into Nippert. The mini plans, we're pushing those. We held back on Oklahoma. Obviously, that's our Taylor Swift. It's always my correlation. That's our Taylor Swift this year. And we want to make sure, for our sake, that our fans are getting their hands on that seat, not Oklahoma fans. So we want to make it. So we leverage that game for those that didn't want season tickets. They could get into some mini plans now and then eventually release probably the final few handful of seats we have for that Oklahoma game on a single game basis. And at that point, if we're out, we're out. We tell people now go to our new partner, SeatGeek, on the secondary fan to fan resale marketplace, and that's where you're going to be able to see some of those tickets listed from our fans officially. So we're happy about that partnership. I know a lot of people utilize them as a primary market ticketing app for FC, and a lot of people love it. So we're happy to make that transition and see how that goes this year.
Have you guys noticed, obviously moving to the Big 12 helps sell tickets just in and of itself, but and I know you compare numbers year over year, but have you noticed a big change and a big sell in non-season tickets to this point compared to this point going into last year?
A little, to be honest, with the amount of tickets that we have to give our visiting team, it actually decreased from one conference to the other. So we had a little bit more inventory on the single game side that we were able to go out with. And the response has been phenomenal. Again, the season, we were able to squeak a few more season tickets into our inventory. The upgrade process, I think, went mostly smooth, and our fans were able to get seats if they had their eye on, 2 rows in front of them, or kind of choose their own adventure if they want to go somewhere else in the stadium. But our single game sales have gone extremely well. I think we are a little ahead of where we were last year, especially as you look at the conference games. The Kansas game, if that were, I don't want to bring up, I think it was SMU last year. If it was one of those games late in the season, we wouldn't be tracking as well. Obviously holidays, weather, all that. But I mean, even that Kansas game is tracking pretty well for us on the back end. So that's a great sign for us.
How many student tickets are there this year, and has that process started, or how's that all going?
Yeah, student tickets on a season basis have been sold out. I think we sold out in less than 2 days. That's a great problem to have. That our students are just, I think they're the best I've been around. When gates open 2 hours prior to the game, they're already starting to come in. Like that's awesome. Name a handful of schools like that. You could guess they're usually the best in college football for that year, and everyone else struggles. So we don't have that struggle, knock on wood. But they're showing up. They're bringing the energy. They're staying through halftime. They're doing all the things you want a student fan base to do. We have a handful of seats left, that we generally put on a single game basis, kind of more of a lottery system now, to give, if you didn't get a season ticket, you have access to those single games. So that's roughly 100 to 200 seats per game. But we need our students to show up no matter what. To have 5,000 plus student tickets out per game, that represents a large proportion of our stadium compared to others, and but they deserve it. They show up, and they stay there.
Let's talk a little bit. We'll get into in-stadium and in-game stuff, but anything you want to highlight as far as new, updated when it comes to tailgating, pre-game festivities, fan experience, stuff like that?
Yeah, we're excited to announce, and we've planted the seed for the past few days, but we've done and we are currently still completing over $400,000 worth of stadium concession upgrades. Whether it is branding of stands, pieces that fans may never see inside the stands, so some of the cookware, and then speed lines. We're going to have one stand specifically, which is our highest traveled stand, which will now be speed lines, which you're going to go through. You're going to grab your food. You're not going to wait for anybody to wait on you. You're going to wait on yourself and hit a register and go. We're also putting, I think, anywhere between 4 and 6 self-serve beverage locations throughout the stadium and coolers. So you grab something out of the cooler, you just go, and there'll be two machines there to check yourself out. So we're trying to get with the technology in a 100-plus-year-old stadium. So that's, there are some hurdles to get by, but we've made a conscious effort to really impact our fan experience through how they look at food and beverage, and that all those upgrades will also go up into the West Pavilion. So in our suites and clubs, we've made some upgrades there. Presentation, quality of food. I really do have to praise our friends at Aramark. They brought in a new GM, Gary. He's on fire. He's just doing everything right. He has 20 plus years of professional experience down in Tampa. He was excited to come up here, take this role, pretty much a whole new staff. So they've made the investment too, because we share our surveys with them. And, it's important that we do listen to our fans. And these are things, turn times, how long they're waiting to get their food. We are going cashless. There will be opportunities for those that still want to use cash, but for the most part, we're going cashless to speed up the lines a little bit more. And really, we're looking at that experience when you're not watching football, what's happening. And that was our commitment this year to work with Aramark and others to make sure, where are our pinch points? Where are people getting slowed down in the concourse? Let's move some of those walk-through brews, as we call them, into areas where we want traffic flow to kind of deviate from. So we hope our fans find a different experience, a positive experience, but that's why we do surveying, because we want to hear how people feel about the changes we made. Our tailgating, we'll continue with the grid. Revel XP will continue to be our tailgate partner. We got a late start with them last year, but I think they've hit the ground running for this season. We've introduced the tailgating at the Commons, so you'll see a lot more activity up there, higher end tailgates, a lot of turnkey tailgates where we hope you can just walk right into the stadium. We think it's a beautiful place to tailgate. And then just announced this afternoon by my boss, John Cunningham, is he'll be doing an AD tailgate, and various constituents would be invited out. Certainly, you want to be a UCATS member, want to be a season ticket holder. If you are a Cincy Reigns donor, certainly looking at inviting that group out. But we just want to be able to thank our fans and our donors from game to game, and interact with John, interact with his executive staff, and get a few hot dogs or hamburgers and chips on us. As a special way to say thank you for being with us over the last few years. As we go and change conferences, and we have everything else in the world happening.
Yeah.
But really, it was our fans that got us here, and that's John's way of small way of saying, hey, thank you so much. So we'll get invites out there pretty soon.
You touched on concessions and time of service and quality and stuff like that. I was going to get to, so thanks for hitting on that. And are there any new items, new local vendors that are coming on board this year? Anything you can let the fans know from that angle?
Yeah, so we worked hard to work with our partner Aramark. They've reached out to a small company in Cincinnati called Rheingeist. I don't know if anyone's heard of them. So they will be sourcing a new beer in venue. I don't know if you heard, it's called Cincy Light.
I've had a couple.
So that's very important to Aramark to show that they're working through that, making sure our fans have access to that. And it's just been awesome, right? I mean, you see the support that it's gotten and what Cincy Reigns has been able to do in partnership with Rheingeist. We're pumped for that. Cincy Reigns did all the heavy lifting, and Rheingeist figured this thing out. And I think it's one of the fastest growing light beers in America at this point. And that's just a great story to tell about our fans. And I think I read, or someone sent me something about like a Xavier fan was drinking it and had no idea it supported Cincy Reigns, and that's all you could ask for, right? So, that's one piece of what we're aiming to do is just we want to look at variety. Again, Gary's been phenomenal. We're bringing in this pretzel truck from Indiana, all fresh baked pretzels on site that will be in our stadium, right in our venue. And it will be behind the student section. These big, like almost pound, they almost weigh a whole pound. And they're the best pretzel I've ever had when we tested them. So we're hoping that, something like that drives some more energy in that student section. And lastly, Gary had this idea. He calls it the Big Cat Sandwich. So anything fun like that, they're putting a chef in Stadium View Cafe, kind of where the bridge is underneath the video board. You'll have some specialty items. I think that the way he portrayed it to me was like a half-pound Reuben sandwich or pastrami sandwich. He's like, "You're from New York. You should know what that's all about." And I'm like, "Gary, it's just not my thing." But they crafted it. We did taste test, and it was awesome. So he's like, "Yeah, this whole pound sandwich will feed 2 people. They're gonna love it." So I think check out Stadium View Cafe. They're gonna have a lot of secret menu items and things floating through there, testing a few things. And I'm like, "Hey, Gary, if this is a hit, then you have to get that at every stand." He's like, "Oh yeah, well, let's start there, see how our fans like it." But that, Gary is creative. He and his staff and the chefs are doing a phenomenal job, really challenging themselves to, let's get the staples done right, but then let's give a little bit something extra.
You mentioned the increase in kind of the self-service or grab-and-go stations. Will that impact at all the number of like in aisle, in stadium points of sale?
To my knowledge, they increased the number of point of sales by another 75 or so, whether it's the hawkers or the portables or at those hard stands, but another 75 to 100 points of sale. And if you know the concession game a little bit, they truly do run off of nonprofit organizations. I
Mhm.
think we've had 6 to 8 new nonprofit organizations sign up,
It's awesome.
which is, yeah, it's phenomenal. It's just the hard work they've put in to make the experience a little bit better, and really pouring into the personnel of their operation. So I could tell you, I see smiles on their workers' faces. They're happy with all the changes. They're excited about the changes. I think they're proud of all the changes. So again, when our fans come up to that window and order something, I think hopefully the fans see all the hard work that they put into this. And you might not, right? A hot dog's a hot dog. You're just there to get a hot dog. But for those keeping track at home, there will be some changes. Hopefully, will be appreciated. Locally sourced food. The chef is big on that. Let's get as many Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana products in here and support locally, local farms, local products, and that's been something they've been really sharp on.
For the grid and Shakely Lawn, anything new you want to touch on there from a food truck, stuff for families,
Yeah, so the grid will be pretty much running the same. I think there will be a band or DJ. Our marketing team's been working pretty hard on kind of figuring out those last minute details. Bands always cancel on you, so you always have the DJ on backup, right? Shakely Lawn, like the spring game, we thought the spring game was fun. It was engaging for families. So those games where we probably have some more families targeted to come in, like an EKU, 3:30 start. We're looking to do some more of that carnival style type feel. Have some of those games out for kids. But that's where John's AD tailgate will be. So we'll kind of split that in half, put the AD tailgate out that way, and then also we'll have the big screen on Shakely as well. So once John's tailgate ends, the goal is to open up that area. It will be under a tent. It will be high top tables. We'll open up that area from a private party type invite only to, hey, it's a beer garden. It's whatever you want it to be. Go find a table, relax, check something out on the big game during the game. Because inevitably, if you have a kid, you're going to be on Shakely running after that kid, and you still want to catch the game. So our goal is to really make it a flexible space on game day, and not really have things that you have to do there. But if you want to go there, you can still run around. I think that's the beauty of that space. It's so flexible.
going inside the stadium to in-game entertainment, is there anything with whether it's on the video board, with out of town scoring stats, the way commercials are going to be run, anything that fans will notice that's different from last year or even the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, Dave, you said 20 minutes, 30 minutes here. I could go on all day because that
I
is
know.
my favorite part of the job, is trying to get that right. Um, over the summer, we shifted some personnel around. So Connor Boyle, who's been he's probably the best motion graphic person I've ever been around. He was kind of dabbling in our board space, and now he's just taken over the big boards altogether, from graphics to how it engages. We bought some new software. We're going to roll it out slowly. It's a board that we could show social interactions. We could do a little bit more with our fans. Definitely a different experience as we get that thing up and running full tilt. But I'd say that's probably more by the Oklahoma game, because it's not something you could just sit there and test if you don't have 30,000 people in the stadium. So you kind of you play around with it, and Connor is a genius. So Connor's also working with audio techs. We're looking at how the speakers are pointed, what all the levels are. We're not going to get other speakers in the other end zone to go surround sound. So Connor's been working for the last 3 months with our providers to ensure we're getting the audio right. Now, at the end of the day, it's not going to be perfect. It will never be perfect. When we look at surveys, two people in the same section, one will say it's too loud, one will say I can't hear it. And they might both be true. So we are going to be very conscious about how sound is coming out of our speakers. We're working really hard with campus to ensure that we could get some closed captioning in the building. So that's on the top of Connor's list as well, because we know that's helpful to a lot of people. Trevor Toll, who came over from ESPN that we hired as our executive producer, when he's not doing our ESPN Plus games or doing our linear games for us, he is producing everything that you're going to see on the video board, kind of in concert with Connor and our marketing team led by Stanley, Marissa, and Brad. So that group of 5 has been tied at the hip. They've been working on this thing all summer. I get to jump in like the jerky director from time to time and be like, well, let's have more guest interaction. And they're like, oh, not at the 12th hour, dude, or the 11th hour. So like, get him out of the room, get Anthony out of the room. We got this.
Have you guys thought about this?
Yeah,
I'm sure they love when you come in and say that.
That's where I'm at. And then they just lock the door when I leave to go get water. But for the most part, it's going to be a fun show. We're going to try to introduce some pieces as this goes. Trevor's new, Stanley's new, but being new it's not an excuse. Being new is they need to feel it. They need to feel that first game energy and be like, okay, we need 3 game hosts. We need 3 RF cameras, which are radio frequency cameras you put out throughout the stadium. We didn't have those things before. We couldn't get to that level. So I think we're going to be more on the pro side as we continue down this track, and Trevor gets used to what a game day in Nippert is like. I told him it's the greatest thing you're going to be around. Like, it's so energizing, it's fun, but you have a job to do, and that's to interact with our fans as much as possible with a game host. The days of having a PA just kind of yell at you throughout the whole game, and our PA is phenomenal, but let's get some different voices in there. Let's get some different video elements with our football players. I think you saw some of that sprinkled in last year, but let's really lean on that. We're trying to cut down on the commercials. It's just part of the deal, and when you're trying to make money, it keeps the lights on. But we're happy with where we're going to land for game 1. But really, seeing how this technology will interact with when you have 40,000 people in the building, we really want to lean on some of that software we bought into and see how that plays out. And I can't tell you, feedback after game 1 is the most important. So, if you're in a section, you get the survey and literally the audio is not where you need it to be. That's going to be big for us because we have made some adjustments and we need to continue. Audio is not something we could set it and forget it. It's something that you literally need to tinker with in game. If you see people with those iPads at concerts, like behind in the pit, like they're literally tinkering with audio all game long. So those are things that are important to us. We heard it on surveys and we want to continue to get better.
A couple things I know are always discussed: Wi-Fi and in out-of-town scores. I know that whole thing. I know a little bit enough about the out-of-town scores to say something that's wrong, but kind of, update us on where you think things are in those 2 areas.
Yeah, so, okay, totally transparent. The out-of-town score piece was a vendor we utilized. It was tough to keep up with. Sometimes it wouldn't connect, network activity, all that. No excuse, right? But if we bring it back in-house, which we did, we're able to do it manually now. Where you should see a little bit more creativity about how we're going to bring those to the forefront. That software we invested in is able to update, and we're able to update it manually. So I think you'll see some more out-of-town scores. The Wi-Fi, I think, is getting better. We're constantly working with IT and network professionals on campus to ensure it's getting better. And again, those are things. If you're sitting in section 101, it might be better than 129, and we just need to know. When you fill out a survey, if you actually put your section, we're able to continue to target and start seeing trends in those sections. So I can't stress enough, Dave, and this is 3 years straight of saying we're here to listen and then respond. And those surveys after game 1, year 1 for us, we were able to make a lot of changes between game 1 and game 2. And then, even last year, we were able to make some smaller changes in between the same time frame. So we don't want to screw up a night game 2. So we want to hear all the feedback after game 1.
For the premium seat sales, kind of top level, how's that going? And then what opportunities are still available for fans that you want them to know about?
Very few opportunities.
That's good.
I think our biggest opportunity is on the field suite level. I believe, sold 5 out of our 8 full seasons down there. Two of them were left unsold on a season intentionally, so we could do single game purchases, get some sampling down there, because it truly is not. It shouldn't just be a season ticket holder thing. You want to get down there. You want to bring your company out. You want to be on the field for when someone's catching a touchdown, literally in your suite. So that's again in partnership with our guys at Revel, because they were able to bring in all the trussing and build it, and they took on a lot of the expense. But we're happy with them. It'll be loaded with a TV, drinks, access to food, all inclusive, cash bar type deal. But at the same rate, our suites are sold out. Our loge level or patio suite sold out. I think there might be 2 seats that remain in our club level, sold out. So we'll release, like any good ticket office, we have 4 or 5 holds just in case, and then we'll release those, on game day or the day before game day. But certainly, truly rooftop, that area, there's some hope there. If you're trying to get in the premium areas, that's another place, great place to sample. You want to bring someone out from your business, you grab 4 seats up there, that's all inclusive. So I think the premium side of things we're really happy with, and the field suites is something that if you haven't been down there, if you own a company, go buy a game. If you work for a company, go beg your hiring, your HR manager or your marketing team to be like, hey, we need to bring 15 people and we're going to go sit on field to do that. It's just a different experience. It is awesome.
I agree. Got to do it last year for the Kennesaw State game. It was pretty, and that was I'm sure it's much better now. That was, I think, the first go of it. So you guys have had a year to fine tune it. Anything else football wise that people need to know about? I got a couple other not football things, but anything else?
We love the feedback, and we're putting in all these changes. Appreciate everyone's patience, and I really do think the concession piece will be a help to everyone. And the amount of employees and personnel they're putting into that, I just want to say we heard everybody, and we're trying to get better there.
How are basketball? We'll go to basketball real quick. Basketball sales and anything new you want to say real quick on that? Well, I mean, obviously this is a big football show, but for given the time period, but anything basketball related that fans need to know about?
Basketball is great, men's and women's basketball. So women's basketball, I think our sales are doing pretty well. They're pacing where they were last year, a little bit ahead of pace. I really encourage people to get out and watch that team. Trina's doing great. She's such a great coach to be around. High energy, loves UC. That team specifically needs that support out of the gate, and I think we're starting to see people really buy into that program. Season tickets have been going well. Courtside, I believe we're almost sold out on courtside, and then on the men's side, we're doing extremely well. I mean, it's Big 12 basketball, so I know Wes has a good roster he's put together. They're going to be exciting to watch. And as you look at just what you're going to get at the back end, once January 1 and beyond hits, you're going to get the best basketball in the country night in and night out. And, we've worked hard to put a competitive non-conference schedule together, which will include a few extra home games that we'll announce here hopefully soon. But from a season ticket standpoint, we're ahead of pace. We're ahead of last year. Really everything that we have available is upper bowl, and we will make an effort to do more group sales. Bring prices a little bit lower in some of those areas so people can experience Big 12 basketball. So think youth basketball teams, things that we want to ensure that we're not outpricing anybody in the market. So I think from top to bottom in the arena, we've priced ourselves pretty fairly for what we're about to walk into. And honestly, it's the student section that will drive a lot of our games. We need our students to show up. We're doing a lot of things to ensure that we are continuing to engage them all through their 16, 17, 18 games. And our fans feed off their energy. So Wes has made an important note to me saying our students need to be going 110% all game long, because he knows that that kind of that energy kind of circulates throughout the arena up and down. And we're still working on a lot of our marketing pieces on how we engage our fans. How, last year you saw probably a little bit more use of an MC, and that's something we want to bring to all of our sports. So volleyball this weekend, you'll see a little bit more of that. But we're excited with where this is going. Our fans have responded, and certainly having that help with our fan base across all of our ticketed sports is phenomenal.
Last question I have is just the overall Big 12 impact on your marketing campaign, just as a department, and what that is allowing you guys to do, whether it's more TV, more radio, more digital, more social. Like how is that piece kind of let you expand how you're reaching out to the diehards that are going to be watching this live, but also to the people that maybe you're going to go to one basketball game this year?
That's a tough question because it spans everything, right? And our team has done a great job, Ben Hofstetter specifically, working with the Big 12 to ensure that. Hi, Chad.
Hi.
You just walked in on a really tough question. You might have just saved me. No, Ben has done a great job working with the Big 12, really keeping the communication between Cincinnati and the Big 12 and what they're looking to do wide open. And with the Big 12 specifically, that brand alone, and how the Commissioner Yormark has been aggressive in his pursuit to making this the best league in America. That's helpful for us. It motivates us as a staff. It motivates us. It allows us to be creative. Our team went down to Big 12 meetings, met with all the other schools a few months ago. They brought in some social media experts talking about how we should engage the brand, our brand, with Big 12 brand and our brand in general. Content is king, as they always say. And, taking that back, I think hopefully you've seen a little bit more on social, a little bit more elevation, especially as we play off the Big 12 in their brand. But the league's given us so many opportunities out of the gate to do some creative things and showcase what our brand can do as well. But Yormark and his team have done a phenomenal job just putting us in that position. And it's so much fun to work with the commissioner's office, because they are full go. There is no take a deep breath, we're going to take the summer off. And I think our team has really taken that energy, applied it on their own. And this is the first summer I could tell you they're like, wow, we're burnt out in a good way, but we're motivated to continue to keep going, because that's what it takes. Like, you think about an apparel change, you think about a conference change, you think about how NIL is impacting, you think about the launch of really Cincy Reigns and Cincy Light, and how we, day one ready tour, and how we're fundraising. We didn't stop. Some departments might have taken off. We did not stop. And it was fun to see our staff just really enjoying this, because these are the moments where, they're not in front of the curtain taking the bow. They're the ones behind it. And they're excited. They're happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be a part of it. We love what we do. And we'll continue to do whatever we can, because we're stewards for the program. It's our fans and donors program. And, that's it. We're just happy to continue to work on our fans' behalf. And that brand, though, in the Big 12, if you believe in a Power 4 or Power 3, it really puts us in the position. And, like John will say, I think he said this on his Coffee with Cunningham, like, we just have to continue to put ourselves in a position to stay on the right side of this, because we never know if it's done. So our work can never be done. It will never be done. We tell our donors, Cincy Reigns and NIL support is imperative. It's keep the lights on type stuff. But if you believe that it's truly rooted in helping our student athletes, then, that's it. We're here for them. And if we could help connect our student athletes to corporations, And as our brand grows, so will theirs, and the corporate brand. What I think we've missed out of the gate across the country is this: the NIL and collectives are helpful, but the corporations need to start connecting with student athletes across the country one-on-one, and telling their brand story. And it's not about how many followers they have, but if they have a great story to tell, which I think we have a ton of great student athlete stories to tell on our campus, it's finding the right partner for them. And that's true NIL. That is exactly how it should work. So whether you're a donor who might personally believe that NIL isn't for them, but you work for a company that could really parallel and intersect with one of our student athletes, then that's what it is, right? That's exactly what NIL was built for. But at the end of the day, we need that support. UCATS, Cincy Reigns, doesn't matter. We're going into a league where we're playing behind by $20 million a year. We're playing catch up. I think John will always tell you, we're happy being the underdog. We will continue to punch above our weight class. We sped this thing up by an entire year, Dave. We thought the entry was 2024. It's 2023 now. So the recruiting classes have to catch up. The coaches have to catch up. So we're happy to be in this position, but we're going to be tireless. We're going to wear people out. We get it. But NIL, UCATS donations go a long way in the next 18 to 24 months as we try to sustain until we're in that media deal in 25 and beyond.
I had a user submission. The people want to know, will they be able to buy 16-ounce cans of Cincy Light at the games?
I stayed out of the negotiation between Aramark and our vendors. I don't know that answer. I will try to get that answer, but I believe, if you believe Gary, he just told me it's going to be everywhere. So 16-ounce, 12-ounce draft, he just told me it's going to be everywhere. So that's a great question that I just don't have the answer to, because I wasn't in the room as they try to hammer out kind of what they were purchasing.
I know you probably don't know the exact numbers, whatever, but what has been kind of it feels like the response has been kind of overwhelming on rolling out Cincy Light, like from behind the scenes. Have the sales matched? And we have a message board thread that people are just like, I got it here. They have 2 cases left. And 10 minutes later, somebody's on the message board like, no, they don't. I just went and got it.
I am not in tune with that side of the business. That is Cincy Reigns' deal with Ryan Geist through and through.
I know. I just didn't know if you had heard like how.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going.
The ballpark, I heard it's going amazing. And, for us to hear that, look, you have the name of your city on a beer can. There's no Bearcat branding. There's not so if you don't know, you're still supporting us somehow. But Chad, you might have missed that. I said, if a Xavier fan's drinking it, they have no idea. So I think you see it. It's cool. It looks hip. But all the reports back are that it's good tasting from what I hear, and the sales are going phenomenal. So I just hope that keeps up. This will end up being a game-changing partnership for Cincy Reigns and hopefully for Ryan Geist. And that's awesome.
Well,
I think you crushed it, Dave. I got here a little bit ago, but you were doing so well. I just let you keep cooking.
That's why you pay me the big bucks.
It is.
Yeah. But thank you, Anthony. And if you can, I know you're busy on game days, but come on up to the top of Campus Green and have some jello shots with the Simone family tailgate and get ready for a great 2023. Thanks again, and we always appreciate you coming on and kind of giving everybody the updates and what to look forward to. So look forward to seeing you. I'm sure I'll see you around the stadium sometime this season.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and have a great rest of the night.
Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Absolutely. Take care.
There you go. Anthony DeFino. Did you do the team ticker ad read?
No.
Okay.
Just did Holy Grail and went right into the segment.
All right. Well, two things. This might impact you, Dave. It's not UC specific, but they are live with Michigan State now. So they also have a Michigan State team ticker. They have one that is the mascot, and then one that is like the Sparty, like or the the logo.
I will let several people know because I am in touch with multiple Michigan State fans.
I know the Sparty is strong in the Simone household.
That's right.
So yeah, Michigan State is live. You can find them at teamticker.com. And they have, again, two designs, much like the UC. And I was supposed to have a picture of that, but my phone is not anywhere in the vicinity. So maybe by the end of the show, I'll go get my phone and give you a look at the Team Ticker. But as you know, Team Ticker is a one-of-a-kind sports sign for Bearcat fans. If you're looking for a perfect addition to your man cave or a gift for that special Bearcats fan, or to spruce up your dorm room, go to teamticker.com and pick up your Team Ticker today. It's easy to hang with the provided hanging kit. It plays the fight song at game time. It's got a high-tech, retro-looking display. You can see mine right there. Aaron's got the Bearcat hanging up in his room. So make sure, there you go. And there's mine. Make sure you are supporting the folks. Thanks, Aaron. That's your Vanna White was impressive. Make sure you're supporting the folks that are supporting us. And that brings us to the timestamp. And the timestamp, as always, is brought to you by Turtles Brew. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, bourbon-infused sweet tea. It's got cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. There's 50 locations, more than 50 locations in greater Cincinnati. All you have to do is visit turtlesbrew.com for more information and locations. A portion of the proceeds go to Save the Turtles, the Sea Turtles, not just any turtles, the Sea Turtles. And they're in Toledo as well as Cincinnati, now expanding also into Central Ohio. All right. Yeah, Wayne, I had a chance to chat with Smokey and the boys from Sikkim 365 on my way between practice and volleyball. So it's always a treat to get to talk to my guys with 365 Sports.
Practice.
They asked me my take on like the Yormark today, taking the shot at Texas.
Yeah.
And I said, look, the only thing that Cincinnati cares about on Black Friday is that we don't have to go to Greenville. That's it. That's all Cincinnati cares about. What do you think about Black Friday? Do we have to go to Greenville? No?
Awesome.
Let's go.
Well, yeah, if it ends up being a Kansas thing every year, Lawrence has never looked so good.
It's not Greenville. Absolutely not Greenville. All right. What else you want to talk about today, Dave?
I don't know. Were you at practice today?
I was. A lot of install today. Today was heavy install. So
I thought you're only going to be there Tuesday and Thursday.
They changed up this week.
Gotcha.
It's Wednesday and Thursday now.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, we sat and watched.
Well, it wasn't. At least it wasn't hot or anything.
I was in the on-field suites for about 90% of the day today. It was hot. it was real hot. Even sitting in the shade. Oh, it was hot.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be worse.
Yeah, we'll be there again tomorrow. I will be back at the exact same spot in the game day suites on the field.
Some serious dedication.
I'll be there. But there's not, I mean, obviously, even when they go 11 on 11 now, there's not a lot we can talk about because they're in prep. So I'll tell you this. There weren't many people over on the side with the strength and conditioning crew.
Yellow
and there
jerseys.
weren't a lot of guys in yellow jerseys.
That's good.
D. Wiggins was back in his crispy white jersey today. They're knock on wood because we've done this before and said, man, they're healthy coming out of camp. And then 3 days later, Charles McClellan and James Wiggins had each had a torn ACL. So I'm not doing the whole Joe's gonna have his first healthy training camp thing.
Yeah.
Where everybody was like, oh, Joe's gonna have his first healthy training camp, and then 14 seconds later, he hasn't been seen since.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna do that. But
he's at the FC Cincinnati game tonight.
Yeah, I think last I checked, they were up 2-0.
It's lovely.
Messi, Messi's going to drop 2 in here real quick. What else you got? What do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. I obviously have our big season preview pod next week. I did like your guys' your topic the other night from the board about the.
You want to give yours?
The MVP. That was a fun one to listen to.
You want to give yours?
Sure. What were the categories again?
Let me pull it up. MVP.
MVP.
Most valuable, not best. He did have some most valuable. Top newcomer, freshman or transfer, and then breakout performer, someone that's been in the program, but becomes an every game name that we discuss.
Okay.
One on offense, one on defense for each of those categories.
Okay. I mean, MVP offensively, I feel like I'm going to go the non-Emory Jones category. Because I feel like that, I mean, that's, if they have a good season, it's more than likely going to be
because Emory Jones played well. Yeah,
had a lot to do with it. So, I guess this will coincide with my bold take, which I feel like now's as good a time as ever. I'm going to say Miles Montgomery rushes for over 1,000 yards this year.
The only thing I think that will be interesting on that is how much of a split is there between him and Corey.
Yeah.
If it's 50-50, either one of them getting to 1,000.
And how much does Emory run?
Yeah.
Because if you look at Louisville's rushing numbers over the last several years, their main running back has not had 200 carries.
Right.
But has been anywhere from probably on like the low end. Like 1 year, Malik Cunningham ran for over 1,000 yards. So their leading rusher from the running back position was on the low end in like the 500s. But then last year, Tyon Evans might have been in the 800s or whatever. And then because Cunningham was hurt, didn't rush as much. So if Emory ends up running for 600, 700 yards, and that whole idea goes out the window. If he's more in the 300 to 400 range or something like that, then I think it would be more possible. But yeah, I mean, and Coach Satterfield they have had the propensity to use several ball carriers. So this isn't going to be a situation where Miles will get 20 carries in a game more than likely on average. But the top running back for Louisville over the last several years, like I said, has been in the hundreds carry-wise and has always been over 5 yards, 6 yards, even 7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So, and with his, and that's just what I think. I mean, he could have 11 carries for 120 yards, something
because
like
he hits one, he hits a 60-yard
50-yarder. And I was watching. They actually had on ACC Network today. They had on their game against UCF last year, and then their game against Pitt last year. And the Pitt game was kind of middle of the season, and they threw up a stat. And I was trying to find it for the whole season, couldn't. But they were 13th in the country at that point in 30-yard runs and 40-yard runs. So the offense is set up in a way to generate some explosives in the run game, and I think Miles fits that quite well. Defensively, I know what you and Aaron said: Deshaun Pace, Dante Corleone,
Greshik. is
I'm
definitely
gonna
a possibility.
I'm gonna go a little off the board, and I'm gonna say Brian Threats for my defensive MVP, because I feel like we know a lot about the front seven, especially the down line. We feel like we are good with Sammy and Jordan Young, but I feel like if Threats takes his game up a notch, then that back part of the defense, you really now have all three levels that you feel really good about, and he's going to have opportunity. I think he's going to have opportunities to make plays because, I noticed in the games that I had on today, there were several interceptions where they brought pressure and the quarterback literally just arm punted it.
Yeah.
And there's just a guy sitting back there, waiting to catch it, and he could be in that type of a situation where he ends up with 4, 5, 6 interceptions. He's going to tackle. He's going to be all over the field.
Right.
So
did you hear Nico last night?
Yeah. So,
where he said he runs like 200 yards more.
2,000.
Or 2,000 yards more per practice than everybody else.
Monday night.
Or Monday night. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what day
well,
it is,
I listen.
Aaron.
It takes me 3 days to listen to that podcast, so it was less.
Well, but Nico would be the first part of the listen.
I know. I'm joking. But yeah, so
2,000 yards more of practice than anybody. That's bananas.
But he's right though. Anytime there's like a play, he's running across the field, running down the sideline.
He's got juice.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the next one? The newcomer?
Top newcomer, freshman or transfer, offense and defense.
Well, I don't think many freshmen are gonna.
No, there's only 10.
See the field.
There's only 10.
I'm gonna go offense. I'm gonna go Luke Kandra.
Okay.
I think John Williams is not a newcomer. Tinsley's not a newcomer. I feel like the offensive line, if this offense is going to be successful, it's going to be on them and Emory Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they can have as strong of a middle as we think that they can have, I think Luke Kandra will play a big part in that. He knows the offense better than anybody. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of leaned on him in the run game to start the year. And we'll see what kind of success they can have.
Yeah.
Defensively, let's see what you guys said. What?
Who was your offensive newcomer? Sorry,
Kandra.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
You guys said last night or whatever night that was. You guys said Greshik and Dorian Jones. Is that right?
Those were the two defenders, and then offensively, I took Braden Smith, and Aaron took
Xavier Henderson. Yeah. So defensively, I guess I'll say Jordan Young.
Yeah, I mean, he came on at the end of camp. He was a little quiet early, but then I thought, the last 4 or 5 days, he was really good.
Agree, and what you're going to get. Teams are going to do. They're, how much are they really going to just try to run the ball between the tackles?
Right.
So they're probably going to come out and throw, at least to see, test this new defense, test the corners, test the safeties. So,
and it's the Big 12. They throw the football.
Oh yeah, they run the ball a lot too. That's
they do, but they throw the football.
It's quite a balanced offensive attack from, UC's
almost
getting
the entire league.
Yeah, there's just as not just as many, but there's a lot of top 25 rushing teams that I think fans probably don't. They think that it's still like Cliff Kingsbury at Texas Tech and Oklahoma's airing it out, and it's like it's.
Well, no, we talked about this, Dave. What are teams doing? They're saying, okay, you're going to go light, like you're gonna put lighter defenders in the box and around the line of scrimmage. We're going to run. You're going to have to stop us. You're going to have 3 down linemen. You're going to have a hybrid linebacker, safety, Like, okay, all right, stop our run game.
Yeah, like, I mean, just UC's schedule. Oklahoma's pretty balanced. BYU's going to run the ball. Iowa State's going to run the ball. Baylor's going to run it. Oklahoma State's pretty balanced. UCF's the top 10, top 15 rushing team every year. Houston's probably more throw. West Virginia's got a really good back. And Kansas has a really good back and a really good quarterback that can run. So, I mean, we're going to play some teams that are going to run the ball. So, or at least try to. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to test the corners. So I'll go Jordan Young there. And then breakout player. Is that right?
Talk for a second. Yeah. Breakout. No. Yeah. Breakout guy that's already on the roster. I'm going to run out to my car and see if my phone's out there. I'll be right back.
Okay. Breakout player offensively, I'm going to go Shimon Mater.
Good choice.
I don't believe either of you guys said him. Is that correct?
We did not. The guy who had the original post did as well.
Yeah, I think, we've talked a ton about the wide receivers because of the newness to the position. And I don't think that Shimon's been like a forgotten guy. There were several times he was highlighted for plays, but I think when you watch Louisville, whether it was Marshawn Ford last year or other guys that Satterfield has had, they do definitely feature the tight end. And, he's made a point to not call out in a negative way, but be like, Shimon can be an absolute dude. And we want him on the field as much as possible. So, he's going to need to block. He's going to need to run his routes, catch the ball. So he would be my guy offensively. And then defensively, I'll go Sammy Anderson. I thought he had an awesome camp. And, teams are going to throw. There's no Sauce Gardner. They're going to share the love on who they target.
I think Chad had Sammy as well.
Did he? Okay. I think he is. I think he's prime to make a nice jump this year.
Would you consider Threats a candidate for that spot, or no? Because he started all like
not for me. He wasn't, just because we pretty much know his floor. I'm looking to see how big of a jump he can take.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, he wasn't really someone that I was thinking. Like, I'd be thinking, if I'm thinking more of Sammy, Justin Harris, Eric Phillips. I know, Aaron, you mentioned Watley, Jack Dingle. Like, those are the more so the guys.
Jack Dingle's a prime breakout candidate,
and he was also picked by the guy who made the original post. So
yeah, so those are my kind of. My guys were like, we know who we think we have a good idea that they're talented. They just haven't, had the opportunity to get the requisite number of snaps to really have an answer one way or the other. So those, Threats played, maybe the most snaps of anybody on defense last year outside of the games he got thrown out. He's probably didn't come off the field. So I can't really put him in that category.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think he had a good year, but I don't think he had a starring role. So I could see if you wanted to include him as like a breakout guy. If he goes from the role he had last year to defensive MVP, I think you could certainly consider that a breakout, right? That's a pretty massive jump.
Oh yeah, that would be a breakout. But yeah, I'm certain, because I'm just looking at it a little bit differently. But I totally see that side of it.
I thought that was an interesting topic, and stuff like that I think has its place on the nightcaps, because we can have a little bit more freedom with those and have a little bit more fun.
For sure, absolutely.
You want to talk about your Mark and his comments today?
Oh, I just think it's funny. Anybody that's
Texas fans are big mad.
Oh, of course they are, because they're used to
being the bully, and especially when Dan Beebe was commissioner. I don't know this. It sounds like he's basically he would basically do whatever they wanted. So it's the shoe's on the other foot now, and you're leaving, and why do I need to
kowtow to you.
Right.
And it's all in, like, it's sports, man. It's fun. Like, people just get upset about it because they're not used to a commissioner just being real, being like a real human, like just
Right.
messing around. Like, he's not legitimately hoping that, like, Texas is terrible or something like that. I mean, he's talking to a bunch of diehard Texas Tech fans. It's
Right.
like when you go to the quarterback club of the SEC school. I mean, you're gonna play to your audience a little bit. It's all in good fun, to me at least. Like, if he was, commissioner or whatever, saying something about UC, I would just be like, oh, that's it's just funny, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, of course everybody's going to have fun with Texas. Like,
Yeah.
Get over yourself. And that's why everybody is having fun at the expense of Texas.
Yeah, because they're mad about it.
Right.
I'd be like, I don't care. We're going to the SEC. Like, I would, if I'm a Texas fan,
right.
I'm obviously thinking we're going to go in there and do great. And why would it matter to me what anybody's saying about, about us in the conference that we're leaving? I'd be like, I got bigger fish to fry. I'm not really worried about that.
What are your thoughts on John Cunningham getting a raise and a couple years tacked onto his contract?
Well deserved. Well deserved. I think he's done a more than fine job at steering this ship through, people. I mean, the guy has. I'm sure he's taken a vacation, but from starting during COVID to
starting right before COVID and then having to deal with COVID as it happened, which I think is harder than, because you think like, okay, all systems are go, we're pointed in this direction, and then the ship crashes into the rocks and you have to, man the hull, fix the oars and get back out on the ocean.
Yeah, you have that. You have a conference change. You have any coaching changes that you've had to do. You have the Under Armour thing, and then signing a new apparel deal. Like, the guy is in a very short amount of time, he has had some big bullet point things that he's had to deal with. I mean, you think of other ADs, like, I'll just use Tennessee, for example. Like, Danny White has hired a football coach, didn't have to do anything with, like, the league, didn't have to do anything with Nike, didn't have to do anything with Rick Barnes. Like, I mean, it's he's had a lot of coaching changes, the betting scandal. So yeah. I mean, there's been a lot. So yeah, I think it's well deserved.
What do you say to the people that think it was kind of suspect that they didn't make a big deal out of it?
I mean, okay. Like, should we have, like, set off fireworks at Fountain Square? I mean, the guy probably didn't really think it was necessary, one. And
well, think about his past. He doesn't he's not and yeah, you can maybe say that you think your AD should be a guy that's a lot more front facing, but if you pay attention to AD hires, the way it typically goes is like front facing loud guy, quiet compliance guy, front facing loud guy, quiet compliance guy. It's like offense defense, right? Like, we hired an offensive minded coach and that didn't work out, so now we got to go defense. Like, that's not who he is.
I just, like, it's a thing that I just don't like. It doesn't register to me as far as, like, oh, I wonder why they didn't make more out of, like, I don't understand what it matters.
Right.
The deal, he signed he got a new contract. Like, not everybody, I mean, it's not apples to apples, but, like, not everybody like gets the promotion and instantly like updates their LinkedIn profile. It's some people it's just not a big deal too, and they are more than happy to just keep their head down, keep working, and
well, here's the important part. Neville Pinto and the board of trustees are very happy with John Cunningham.
Yeah.
So you may disagree with that, but that really doesn't matter because the people that are calling the shots are satisfied with the direction of the athletic department.
And I'm not really sure what you'd be dissatisfied with.
Well, Wes hasn't won at a high level yet, and Scott Satterfield is in year one. So the argument is you shouldn't be handing out raises and extensions if the two main coaches you've hired haven't proven it yet.
You do if you have any inkling that maybe someone's trying to hire your AD.
Or if you're happy with your AD's performance.
Right. I mean, there's yes, there is the front porch stuff, like how is the football team and how is the basketball team doing? But there is a lot of things that go into
athletic directory.
Yeah, especially after, who he took over for. I'll just leave it at that.
No comment. Dante Corleone, first team All-American in the Associated Press. He has been on almost all of the All-American lists that have come out. Mason Fletcher has been on a bunch of them. I believe he was the only Big 12 All-American. I know he's the only Big 12 AP first team All-American.
Dante?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a pretty cool honor and recognition for Dante as the Bearcats move into the Big 12.
It's pretty funny. If you clicked on like the actual press release, they listed everything that Dante and Mason have been like nominated for, and Dante's is just like wildly long. And then at the bottom it says Bruce Feldman's Freaks List, which I thought was funny because that's like not even like a Bronco Nagurski Award or Outland Trophy. Like it's just a And
the Freaks List has become a big deal, Dave.
It does kind of suck. Yeah, for Mason Fletcher, it does kind of suck that he's punting at the same time that Tory Taylor is at Iowa. Like,
yeah.
That, I mean, you can pencil him in right now. Unless he gets hurt, he's winning the Ray Guy Award.
And if Fletcher does what we think Fletcher will do, then he'll be a finalist.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just like you happen to be punting at the same time as like one of the most generational punters that's been around, punted in the last 10 years in college football.
Well, there was the punt god, but we don't talk about him anymore.
He was exonerated.
Ah, okay. So we're allowed to talk about him again?
I guess. I mean, yeah. It's quite an investigation done that found him to have no wrongdoing.
Right. I don't know. I haven't paid any attention.
Yeah. Oh, it's been several months, but
I know. What else football you got? Anything else you want to talk about?
I did notice some interesting schedule quirks today. I don't know if they're going to mean anything to the season or not, but it is kind of funny that last year Louisville played Central Florida and Pitt, won both games on the backs of two really, really good defensive performances. And then UC obviously is going to play one because they're in the same conference, but has Pitt on the schedule. Just an interesting one where you don't typically have that much familiarity, like recent familiarity with a non-conference opponent, unless you're when you have a new staff come in.
Right.
And so they happened to play them last year. And then Pitt's quarterback from last year, Keaton Slovis, is now at BYU. So they'll have some familiarity with him. Obviously, new offense,
different system, right?
New support, but you still will have an idea of like this is what worked against him last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pitt's new quarterback, Phil Dracovic, was Boston College's quarterback last year, and Louisville played them. So it's kind of just an odd, it might not be worth a point, but it's just you don't
Plus,
see that.
Plus back-to-back years against Orlando Tech.
Yeah. So
2
you
wins.
you don't have a lot of times where you're changing a conference and
And
staff,
changing the coach.
and they have experience against players or teams that you're now playing from the year prior.
Right. That didn't coach in the conference that you're going to.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, yeah. You're like, oh, we played Pitt last year, and we've played Pitt for all 4 years that we were at Louisville. I don't know if they played them all 4 years, but I'm sure they played them more than once.
Well, I mean, they were, regionally, it's kind of a rivalry.
Yeah, but they're not in the same. They're not in the same.
I think they were connected. They played quite a bit. I think.
Yeah. I don't know the full-on breakdown, but yeah, I mean, you don't have that too often where two quarterbacks transfer from teams you played last year to teams you're playing this year.
Right. Let's see. 2022 they played. We know that. 2021. They did not play Louisville in 2021. This is good. It's good radio right here. Mm-hmm. They played them in 2020. That was a 23-20 Pitt win at Louisville. 2019 did not play, so maybe it was an every other year thing.
Yeah. So that was their first year,
but still a decent amount of familiarity.
Yeah, and they're gonna have the tape where they've been watching their tape because they're scouting in a team that they played,
right?
To see how Pitt, how did Pitt beat this team? So,
right.
So just some interesting randoms that I noticed that you don't really see a ton of in these type of situations.
As we're rolling through all this stuff, we do want to welcome our newest sponsors of football season, Home Field Apparel. It's Home Field's can't-miss kickoff, and it's here to make sure you are ready for the 2023 football season in style. You can get 15% off your first order with promo code BCJ23. They are debuting a bunch of new stuff. I don't know if Cincinnati is on this list of things that they're going to be debuting new stuff for here in the next couple weeks, but you can gobble up the UC collection. It is at homefieldapparel.com. There is a bunch of great stuff in there, a lot of great t-shirts, a quarter zip, joggers, the best hoodies that I own. So, this one is the second most comfortable hoodie I own. But it's the best looking hoodie that I own. The gray Home Field is the most comfortable.
Someone on a phone?
I was a video on my phone. That Lionel Messi guy. He did a thing.
Dedicated to the craft, Dave.
I know.
There you go.
You're doing an ad read where you want to sit here and watch you.
I would like to not have audio playing from your phone during an ad read. But homefieldapparel.com, enter BCJ23, go to the Cincinnati collection and get yourself stocked up for the whiteout and for the rest of the football season. It should be great.
I'm glad we're not playing a game this weekend when it's 9,000 degrees out.
Woo! It's still, I think it's right now it's saying like 86, 87 temperature wise.
It's not 105.
Right. What? It's supposed to, the heat index is supposed to be 110 tomorrow. I might have to stop and get one of those portable, like the fans.
Just bring you a big jug of Turtles Brew down onto the field.
Sure, that'll go over well.
Well, they'll just be like, oh, he's got some sweet tea.
Exactly. Nobody. It comes in. They said it comes in half-gallon sweet tea jugs.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it
Like,
looks, yeah.
I got some tea.
Any other odds and ends you want to get to, Dave? I mean, we're 10 days away from the 2023 season.
No, there's no good games this weekend, but I'm still going to watch as many of them as I can.
You don't think Navy can take down Notre Dame?
No, I don't.
Did Tyler Buckner win the Alabama job?
They have not announced their starting quarterback yet.
I mean, you can't be taken seriously if that's your starting quarterback, right?
I would think not.
I don't know. I've watched that guy play like 5-6 times.
I watched him play once. That was enough. I never watched him. I didn't need to watch him anymore.
Well, I kept up with Marcus. Marcus is a guy that I love. So I would have them on it from time to time. And my initial observation was that's not a guy you can
either what's his name? Their offensive coordinator either did the best sell job ever to Saban, or Jalen Milroe and whatever 5-star freshman they have this year must just be terrible.
Well, Tommy Reese is their OC, right?
Yeah, that's why whose name I was escaping me. Yeah.
He stunk under Tommy Reese at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Bama does this year with a very questionable quarterback situation and a new offensive coordinator. But a really good
that
defense,
kid's gonna get eaten alive at Notre Dame or at Alabama.
Yeah. But
I think that's gonna go ugly.
I do have one football thing.
Okay.
This Sunday, 10 a.m. Season 2 Bearcat Brunch.
You guys are going Sunday?
Season preview show.
All right.
Hayden Moore will be joining us.
There you go.
We'll be talking coach, he lived the coaching transition. We're going to talk some CFL. We're going to talk some Royal Links golf tours. I got to find out if he's going over to Italy for the Ryder Cup in a month. But yeah, we'll do an hour on big picture stuff. Not so much, we'll talk to Hayden for probably about half the show, and then Jeff and I will talk, some big picture college football stuff. We'll leave the UC stuff to us on Wednesday. But
so here's the thing. George in the Jungle is starting Tuesday as well next week. So you're gonna get something that the people have been asking for, which are little shorter form shows. You guys are aiming for an hour. George and Aaron are aiming for an hour. That might, depending on the Reds, it might be a 90-minute show, like through the end of the Red season, just because there will be Red stuff to hit on along with UC and the Bengals. But you guys have asked for a little bit shorter form on some of those shows. And Sunday morning and Tuesday night, the plan is to give you that.
The loyals know I will not go longer than an hour.
You have gone longer. That show did not only go an hour.
I ended more shows less than an hour than that went over an hour.
I know, but there were still a couple that weren't under an hour.
Keep them very tight.
You guys, the people have asked. We listen. Some of these shows are a little bit longer form, a little more loosey-goosey.
Some of the Monday shows.
Dude, we've done 2 hours regularly for the past month. I don't want to hear it.
You guys did an almost 3-hour one last week.
2 weeks ago, yeah. Look, man, guests mess up the whole format. When we have a guest, next thing you know, it's.
Who was the guest?
Keegan. Keegan was new last week.
Okay.
That was the first time he had been on the BBP.
Okay.
So, yeah. Well, we like to talk. There's 4 of us instead of 2. Like when you have a conversation with 4 people, a conversation goes longer than a conversation with 2 people.
I know.
Because there's extra people that need to talk.
I always just love when I cue it up for the first time. I'm like, how long did it go?
2 hours and 43 minutes.
I'm like, how long did it go this time? Oh, I'll get through this by Wednesday.
Maybe. Maybe. And if you don't get through it by Wednesday and we do Wednesday night,
That's
you're
right.
not listening to it on Thursday.
No. No. But no, we're like, it's weird. Like, we have plenty of football stuff to talk about, but I don't want to talk about any of it right now because that's what next week is for.
Who's your preseason national champion?
Like,
No, like, who is going to win the national championship? Like what?
Michigan?
Really?
Michigan?
You don't believe that?
I mean,
there hasn't been a three-peat since what, the 30s?
I mean, Georgia's defense is going to be like maybe better than the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But they have a brand new quarterback who is young, and we don't know anything about that. They do have a pretty doggone easy schedule.
What was that?
What?
I think there was a demon that just jumped behind you.
Oh, maybe a cat jumped from the. Did it come like down?
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So they go up like on the shelves above our fridge and then jump from there onto the countertop. So that might have been it.
It was an airborne demigod looking experience.
Like a UFO.
Yeah, it was just wrong.
But yeah, like there's the teams at the top of college football this year have like the mainstays have big quarterback questions. Like Ohio State quarterback, not sure on what's going to happen there. Georgia, not sure what's going to happen there. Alabama, not sure what's going to happen there.
No, it's going to be Tyler Buckner, and if you spell your name Buchner and you pronounce it Buckner, I can't take you seriously.
Yeah, so I mean, Michigan, like they're the draft people are talking like they have a legit shot to break Georgia's draft record from last year.
Really?
Yeah. So
what you talking about, Willis?
but again, like I sound, it seems foolish to pick against an SEC team given how things have gone of late, but like if I'm picking Georgia, I just have an insane amount of blind faith in Carson Beck.
Can USC win the national championship in the final year of the Pac-12?
Do they only get to play offense?
I mean, maybe.
Then yes,
maybe.
but I think they still have to play defense, and I don't think their defense can. The Pac-12 is actually going to be really damn good this year.
Yeah.
I don't think they can play good enough defense to run through there, then play like a Michigan or Georgia or Clemson, Ohio State, whoever's in the Final Four. The other three teams, I don't know. I mean, their defense wasn't really good last year, as we saw what Tulane did to them. And so I'm not sure how much better it'll be this year.
Are any of the teams that they're going to play have Tajay Spears?
No, but they have like Oregon has Bo Nix, Washington has Michael Penix. They've got really good quarterbacks in the Pac-12 this year.
I'll let you deal with this one.
This is news to me. I'm not
Dave,
familiar.
what do you think about the CBS Sports report that the Big Ten and SEC told the Big 12 not to get in the way of playoff expansion or else?
What would they get in the way?
Get in the way
I don't know anything about this story, so I
don't either.
So this is not great for me to weigh in on because I don't know what
would it be Dennis Dodd? Like who at CBS Sports is reporting it?
Here's how we fix this. Richard Smiley, we'll do a nightcap on this.
But thank you for the donation.
Send us a link and we'll do the nightcap on it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about them. I mean, I don't know what they would do to get in the way, so to speak. Like
the only thing I would think is maybe like insisting that it be like the top 6 conference champions instead of just the 12 best teams.
But it has to be unanimous. So it wouldn't be the Big 12 getting in the way. Like all the other
Oh.
conferences are not going to vote for the 12 best. That's the thing. Is like you think the Conference USA rep and Micah Rusko and that they're going to vote for the
Right.
12 best. So
I guess they could just flex their muscles and say, "Do it," shut up and do what we tell you.
I mean, the Big 12 feels like they're the third best conference, so they're going to want the same thing that the Big 10 and,
Well, not if it's the 12 best teams.
No,
you don't want that if you're the Big 12.
That's the thing is nobody else is going to vote for that.
Yeah, but who else has votes that matter? Like the A5 can do whatever the hell they want, essentially.
Right. But then you're going to you'd have to go pretty far down the rabbit hole, but like you run the risk of getting the Department of Justice involved.
Right.
So, but no, unfortunately I haven't seen an article or read anything about to really comment on the backstory and what it is that the Big 12 would be doing against what the Big 10 and SEC want to do.
Nothing really basketball related going on right now. We talked the relevant recruiting stuff on the BBP on Monday. They're back on campus. Workouts started on Monday. I'm sure as we get through the next couple weeks, there'll be some info that starts trickling out, and still not allowed to go watch workouts, which is it makes me want to run my head through a wall. But I guess in another month, once we get to the end of September, I'll be allowed to go to practice again, which will be super.
I got one for you. Explain to me how this even works. LSU star defensive tackle Mason Smith will not play against Florida State. The NCAA has suspended him for the first game after determining he received an improper benefit. And David Ubben from The Athletic tweeted, goes straight up, I don't know how this is even possible anymore in the NLI era. What can he receive that's improper?
I guess it would have to be tied to the university being behind it. I get right.
I guess. I mean, unless they
the university's not supposed to have their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak.
I mean, I guess I didn't click the article, so maybe, but an improper benefit, I guess, could have something to do with academics. I guess maybe. I don't know. It's just funny. We don't. How are you suspending guys for improper benefits when they can be paid? So yeah, I'm not, and that's a big loss. I mean, he's one of their best defensive players, and Florida State's pretty damn good.
It wasn't CBS Sports that did the report. It was Joe Tillery from Heartland College Sports, who I've never heard of.
According to a recent report from the New York Post, Ryan, I can't say your last name. Sources claim that. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that Heartland Sports was in response to the New York Post article. Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy that's writing an opinion. I don't know.
That seems like a bunch of conjecture. Right. If you don't do what we say, then, we're going to,
Pac-12 you.
Okay, how?
What we're discussing right now is the article that Richard Smiley was asking about, about the CBS Sports report. Just catching everybody up who's listening. It was a little jumping around.
Yeah. So no, I mean, that sounds like it came from somebody in the SEC. That's
Greg Sankey.
We want all of this to happen. And if anybody says no, we're going to crush them like a bug.
Yeah, Greg Sankey.
Apparently apparently the playoff committee or whoever's doing the negotiations, it sounds like they have the same value. They feel like they have the same value the Pac-12 did because there's nowhere near a TV deal for the new playoff because I guess they're asking for like $1 trillion or something.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have a whole lot else. Do you?
SMU to the ACC, I guess, maybe. Sure.
SMU, Stanford, and Cal. Like the Pac-12 is officially dead. What your thoughts on SMU not taking any media rights money for 7 years?
I mean, what did I say? It's been a couple weeks, but sure, why not? That's my line on expansion at this point.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? You know, I think it's funny that they went into I won't say power, I'll say better conference than the AAC and are willing to give up money for 7 years, knowing full well that as soon as Florida State can get out, they're going to get out.
Right.
And maybe make one AAC football championship game first, guys. Like, yeah. I love it. Once they get in, all of their donors will start giving tons and tons of money to. Why weren't you giving it before, when you were in a much worse conference?
Right.
So that you could be winning games and then be way more attractive to the Big 12 when they decide to expand. I don't know. It feels like a very Dallas SMU thing to do. It'll be interesting.
We don't need your TV money.
It'll be interesting. Just talk about like being on an island.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like at least Stanford and Cal will have each other. Who will SMU have in the deep in the heart of Texas?
Well, like I said, sure, why not?
All right. Well, next week is our preseason season preview extravaganza. Do you want to have it? Should we have a guest, or do you want to like just me and you? Do we get a media dignitary to join us?
College football expert.
Who would be the college football expert? Who you want?
I don't know.
Aaron's the producer of this show. Like, Aaron, you got a week to get us a college football expert.
Dan Wetzel.
Okay, yeah, we'll just hit Dan up, and then he'll
tell him next time I'm up in Detroit, I'll deliver him some Cincy Light if he comes.
Okay. I think Thamel got me Dan Wetzel last time. Pete is significantly more busy now than he was when we used to dabble in those waters.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll shoot Dan.
Maybe. Ooh. Maybe we'll get Big 12 regional reporter Justin Williams.
Yeah. If he can find the time.
He's busy. If he's not on a plane, like he's more busy than Dan Simon these days.
Well, yeah, Dan Simon, his work's done.
Right? He was at Higher Ground last week. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. All right. That's going to wrap it up. We will see you next week for the season preview show. Justin, if you're out there, we'd love to have you. It's the BCJ podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail and Turtles Brew and Team Ticker and Home Field Apparel, right here on BearcatJournal.com.